You never really know what you're going to get with a Mario spin-off. There's such a wide gap between and within the genres that Mario expands out into, that you can get some simple, narrowly scoped schedule filler, or one of your favourite games of all time, or some bland, boring trash. Even when you look within Mario RPGs or Mario sports games, there's such a wide variance between the quality of the entries that all you can do is cross your fingers and hope for the best. Unlike the Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda videos we've done so far, for this video we'll go by subgenre rather than by game, because otherwise we'll be here all day. We'll also rank them by subgenre too, and we'll drop an overall grade at the end. Now that we know that Mario Kart World shifted development from the Switch to the Switch 2 all the way back in 2020, it makes an awful lot more sense why Nintendo decided to put nearly every track in existence in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 was one of the few hits on Wii U, so porting it to Switch early in its life made an awful lot of sense. Little did we know, it was going to be the Switch's only Mario Kart game, not counting the definitely memorable Mario Kart Live. It's hard to know how to feel about that. It is always nice to have a new entry in a series, it brings a bunch of fresh new energy and ideas to it. But through the additions they made with the initial launch and the insane number of tracks they added in the Booster Pass DLC, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is not only the definitive Mario Kart game, it's probably the best racing game of all time. Certainly in the conversation. The game has 96 tracks and like 40 something characters in it. That's madness. It then, of course, became the 5th best-selling game ever made for a port of a Wii U game. So the trade-off for not getting a new Mario Kart was turning the old Mario Kart into the best version it could possibly be. So I think that earns a B overall. There was some cause for worry surrounding Mario RPGs heading into the Switch console generation. Fans weren't all that fond of Paper Mario Sticker Star and Color Splash, even if I have a fond spot for Color Splash myself, while longtime Mario and Luigi developers Alpha Dream went bankrupt in 2019 after a series of 3DS ports nobody really wanted. For the first couple of years of the Switch, it felt like those classic Mario RPG series might just fade into the background. The back half of the Switch's lifespan saw a huge resurgence for them. It started with Paper Mario the Origami King, a brilliant, hilarious, gorgeous game full of tremendous writing and memorable characters. The battle system thrived in particularly memorable boss fights. It wasn't completely in line mechanically with the earlier entries in the series, but if you go into it with an open mind, it's a tremendous game. We had a couple of long-awaited high-profile remakes as Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario The Thousand Year Doors got very faithful Switch conversions, making the latter playable on a modern system for the first time in 20 years. An especially difficult problem given the second-hand version is outrageously expensive and has been for ages. I still have to dive deeper into Mario and Luigi's brothership, but it reassured people that Mario and Luigi games are alive and well, being stewarded now by Octopath Studio Acquire, as well as some of the original devs. From what I did play, it felt like a rock-solid, creative, expressive game. And then there was the surprise Mario RPG sensation, Rabbids. When Mario & Rabbids first leaked ahead of its E3 reveal in 2017, it felt like a scam. There can't possibly be a Mario Tactics RPG where Mario has a gun and also contains Ubisoft's very annoying mascots. The game also couldn't possibly be good. The game then definitely couldn't possibly end up having an equally enjoyable sequel. And yet, all those things ended up being true. I'm not sure the future of those games, as some of the key people behind them at Ubisoft seem to have moved on, but they were bizarrely enjoyable things that nobody would have ever asked for, but I'm very glad we got. So we got 4 new Mario RPGs on Switch, all of which were good, and 2 beloved remakes. That's a rock-solid B+ for Mario RPGs over this generation. Mario sports games are where things get a lot more inconsistent. Mario Tennis Aces started things off on solid footing. It built on top of the bare bones Ultra Smash on Wii U to give a more fully featured experience with some neat new mechanical additions as well as a fun enough story mode. Also, for my money, the Mario Tennis games have the strongest core mechanics of the bunch. You might forget, because we didn't get one for Paris, but there was a Mario and Sonic Olympics game for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which took place in 2021. Like all these games, it was a combination of simple minigames, terrible minigames, and a few surprisingly fun ones. And given the IOC seemed to back some horrible NFT games rather than continue this series, I'll miss the weird novelty of it every 4 years. Mario Golf Super Rush was a big disappointment for me. The story mode was bland and boring, and I hated the speed golf concept. It just made playing golf longer and more tedious and had little bearing on the actual result. Mario Strikers Battle League is in some ways the best of the bunch and in some ways the most disappointing. The core gameplay is tons of fun, and the level of animation is up there with the very best of Nintendo and exactly what you expect these days from next level games. But there just wasn't enough depth there to keep me coming back for longer than a curious glimpse. It's a shame because there's something special at the core of Battle League if they fleshed out the package around it. A C+ feels right as the overall grade for sports games on Switch. A little on the disappointing side, some of the games are pretty fun, but there's just not enough there to a lot of them, and a lot of them just feel like schedule filler. I don't play Mario Party games. I have never bought or played a Mario Party game. I am, therefore, in no way equipped to give a rating to Super Mario Party, Mario Party Superstars, and Super Mario Party Jamboree. But I'm going to do it anyway, purely based on vibes. It seems like people are broadly happier about the state of Mario Party on Switch than they were during the Wii U and 3DS era. The game seemed to have more closely aligned what people actually want from the franchise. So I'm going to give it a very well-informed B. Warriorware had a mild resurgence on Switch, getting 2 new entries and the first new Warriorware games in over a decade. I played a lot of Get It Together, so much that I felt the urge to mathematically quantify which character was proven best at some point. You can find that video on this channel. I really enjoyed the hook of having a lot of playable characters. It added some extra chaos to an already very chaotic game. And I honestly especially liked how ill-equipped and annoying some of the characters were to do certain minigames. I did skip Move It, but it got solid to good reviews as well. It was just nice to have this series back in the spotlight after only getting a best of compilation and a spiritual successor in the entirety of the 2010s. Nice little B- for Warriorware on Switch. I think Luigi's Mansion 3 might be the most underrated game on Switch. The game is gorgeous, and one of the first games on my mind that hopefully gets a performance patch or a Switch 2 edition. The game is stuffed to the gills with sensational animation that brings tons of character and personality to Luigi and his spectral buddies. Every floor is wonderfully themed and creative. The way the Poltergust interacts with the world more than ever before is very satisfying. The puzzle design stays interesting. It's a tremendous showcase of what can be achieved when scope and game design is laser targeted to match and then get the most out of somewhat lesser hardware. It's one of the very best games on Switch. We also got a Luigi's Mansion 2 remake. While I originally liked the mission-based structure because I felt like it matched the portable nature of the 3DS, it felt a little more out of place on a home console, especially compared to how well Luigi's Mansion 3 did distinct areas a lot more organically. But it's still a very fun game, and good to have. B+ for Luigi's Mansion on Switch, largely off the back of the tremendous third game. We didn't get a ton in the way of Mario puzzle games on Switch. There was a port of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, and that game is still a delight. Even if using the gamepad on Wii U did feel more intuitive, Switch replicates that well enough, and I'd love to see a sequel at some point. We also got a remake of Mario vs. Donkey Kong from the GBA. It was a very nice little faithful remake of the original. A remake and a port earned Mario puzzle games a C+. Assessing the totality of Mario spin-offs is tough, just because of how varied they are. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the definitive best Mario Kart, but it did mean no new Mario Kart this generation. Luigi's Mansion 3 and Paper Mario the Origami King are 2 of my favourite Switch games. The sports games were pretty hit or miss, and there's a lot of remakes in there. I think on the whole, B- feels right. If for no other reason than I went B on the mainline games and feel like I have to go slightly lower. That is it for Mario spin-offs. We've done Mario, we've done Zelda, we've done Pokemon, we've done Mario spin-offs. Next is kind of the big one, where I'm lumping a lot of the other Nintendo franchises into one very big video, so it's kind of daunting, but hopefully it turns out pretty well, but you can look forward to that. If you like this video and you're looking forward to those other videos, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon. It really does help. Link is in the description or comments. Check out the link on the end screen, that'll take you straight to the video on Zelda on Switch I did, and thanks for watching.